The American West was in trouble before the Great Depression. I mean, the rural farm crisis of the 1920s had hit large parts of the West very, very hard. The urban West, which contained the most people, was doing better. But that would come down in 1932, 33. I mean, ironically, the stock market crash doesn't affect the West very much at all initially. And the West, if you read the newspapers at the time, thinks it's going to escape the crisis entirely, which it doesn't. When the crisis does come, it probably hits the West harder than any other part of the country. And in part, this is because the West was poor in the 1920s and 1930s. It was a very hard scrabble place. By and large, it had very little financial capital of its own. It depended on Eastern capital. It depended on foreign markets. It depended on national markets. As those markets collapsed, even though the West could go on producing all it had produced before, there were no markets for it. People fell into unemployment very, very quickly. And what you began to get is a crisis that really the safety net, such as it existed at the time, could no longer sustain. You could simply see it go like dominoes. People's families couldn't support them, though people would initially move in with extended families. But when everybody's getting out of work, that doesn't do very much good. Churches and relief organizations run out of money very quickly. County welfare programs were very, very primitive. And one of the things you're going to find is that many counties actually try to exclude people who might need help later on. The counties themselves have to do this because their tax base is vanishing as more and more people cannot pay taxes and properties abandoned because they can't pay the taxes on it. This creates a huge burden for the counties. The states can't sustain it. And essentially, that's why they welcome the New Deal so much. I mean, by the end, and the end comes very quickly in this case, 1933, 34, the West is realizing that if anybody is going to help it out of depression, if anybody is going to be able to stop this spiraling social crisis, it's going to have to be the federal government.